And we're back for the main card, episode 106, Alexa Grasso versus Viviane Araujo, the fight night that most recently occurred. Honestly, a pretty fire main card. We were talking about it beforehand. A good
Yeah.
card, good main card.
Well,
Kind
it
of
was
rare we get
supposed to be
those.
even better, man. We lost the Askarov Royval fight.
I know,
That
which would
would
have been so fire.
would have been so fire, and like it's because apparently Askarov couldn't make weight,
Which
and
is a
that's
shitty reason to lose a good fight. Because the first thing you
it
got to do
is.
is make weight. You can't fight unless you do it.
Yeah, and it's like I don't know if Royval didn't want to fight him after missing weight, or if it was just that bad. It was like a Hamzat situation because like literally online, like on Tapology, it literally uses the word botched weight cut. So it's like. Yeah, and then so it's like anytime you see that, it's like, how do you project that moving forward? 25 is the hardest weight class to make. I think Askarov gets destroyed at Bantam, so it's like,
Well,
what
it makes.
do you do there?
Oh, yeah. And it makes me wonder, too, like, if you're Royval, you're ranked behind Askarov. Askarov's the one that fucked up, so you can demand to get the fight again. It's almost better just to wait and make him make the weight.
Yeah, make him go through that weight cut again. I feel it. I feel it. I honestly wish for like me as a fan's sake, Royval just would have taken the 30% and fought him anyway or whatever. We still would have got the fight. But I guess I do get it. Like I said, flyweight weight misses are different than any other weight class weight misses because it's like it's the smallest weight class, so it matters.
Every pound
more.
matters more because it's a higher percentage of your overall body weight, of course. Yeah, I mean, so if a heavyweight misses weight by 2 pounds, which we recently saw, I mean, shit, 268 versus 265, like, that doesn't matter at all. Like, literally chalk it up to nothing. That's the same as like a 1.5 pounds or less at flyweight, which we wouldn't scoff at 1 pound in flyweight. We'd be like, you missed it, but 1 pound doesn't really make a difference in any fight.
Yeah, for sure. And I have a feeling it was a lot more than 1 pound. But yeah, diving into this main card, jerking the curtain, we got Alonzo Menifield minus 190 fighting Misha Serkinov plus 160 in the light heavyweight division. I love me some Menifield in this one.
I did as well.
My probably second or third most confident pick. I loved my pick in the Martinez Swanson fight. That was my lock of the week. The over in Maximov Malkoun was probably in second place. And this was my next favorite bet, just because of these big light heavyweights, anything can happen. But like you look at Serkinov, he's had a lot of L's. He's bounced back and forth between weight classes. Now he's had a really tough schedule too, so it's really hard to kind of like interpret that. But then Menifield is, I think, underrated. I think he's what, like 12-3 or something like that. He has a pretty good record, and he's just, I mean, one of the better athletes in the best athlete division. You know what I'm saying? Like we always say, middleweight, light heavyweight. That's like the guys that like could potentially play another sport, like big professional athlete looking motherfuckers. And I mean, Menifield embodies, like, he's literally that, what we're describing.
I think he played arena football, if I'm not mistaken, and then transitioned to fighting.
He looks like it, right? Like he looks like a plus athlete. I mean,
and throws with crazy power. Like he is just all power. Kind of all power with more athleticism than a guy like Ozdemir. Maybe same power, but a lot more athleticism. Maybe not
way
same
faster.
technique. But if you think
Way
about when
faster.
Ozdemir fought Serkinov, it didn't go good for Serkinov then.
Yeah.
So kind of the same layout here. It's just as Menifield is refined in his striking. Maybe doesn't have to be because he is such a good athlete, like we're mentioning. But I loved Menifield under the 200 money line. Like the minus 190 was just so juicy for a guy that I really liked to win. Now, like you said, though, light heavyweight, and he does eat shots. So always the chance Serkinov could win here. They both had paths to victory. I just thought it was way more open for Menifield.
I agree. I love me some Menifield. Yeah, man, especially like in a two-legger. You know what I mean? Like that minus 190 is that two-legger sweet spot where you can kind of mitigate the value that you're losing there. Now, that being said, I mean, we were essentially proven right to be as confident as we were in this pick because this fight lasts 1 minute and 28 seconds. And if Menifield wins a fight that lasts 1 minute and 28 seconds, it wasn't by submission, folks. He puts people to fucking sleep.
No doubt. I mean, it only took him 90 seconds to land that right hook that literally spun Serkinov around. Then he lands the right uppercut from behind. And, I mean, that was pretty much all she wrote. The left hook came and hit, but Serkinov was dead.
And then don't forget the Ngannou Stipe punch that gets landed just on a corpse, just fucking.
You know what I found weird? Minifield after the fight clearly like wasn't like he was like emotional about how bad he knocked Serkinov out.
Yeah.
And it made me think, how are you feeling this way, but you just went for that extra shot when you saw like a corpse on the ground? Like that's a differentiation. And I know he's in the fighting mindset, but like, I don't know. It's hard. I usually don't see that line with guys. Either they're like, yeah, I killed him, I don't care, whatever. Sean Strickland style, like he is. Sean Strickland's literally said out loud, "I hope a man dies in the cage. It would be so cool to kill a man with my hands." That's insane level. We're not talking that level. But there's also a level of like, if you're not down to hurt people, you're in the wrong sport.
Yeah, and it's weird because we saw it with Deontay Wilder over the weekend too. He was like talking like how bad he felt about hurting the guy, and that's, I go back and forth with it, right? Like on the human level, you get it. On the fighter level, you want him to be an absolute dog animal, not really. Which is, I guess Minifield, I don't know, man. Until I see it, like if he comes out in his next fight and is like pitter-patting around, I'll have a problem with it. But like, maybe it's just natural to feel that, because I mean, Serkinov was like unconscious. It was one of those ones where they went to commercial break, came back, and I think he was still unconscious. So I'm sure it was a little scary. Minifield seems like a good dude, you know what I mean? But he's just like an absolute freak of nature, powerhouse. I feel you, though. It is kind of weird to juxtapose those two things, to be so violent and then feel bad for it afterwards when you're in the hurt business. It's weird, but I'm sure it's weird for the fighters too, right? Like, it's weird for us to understand.
But I don't see Derek Lewis ever feeling bad for anybody. In fact, he'll stand over their body and lurk.
Yeah, no, and I mean, all these guys are different, you know, built differently, had different experiences. I'm pretty sure Minifield's been knocked out himself very badly too, so maybe he relates to it from the other side. Well, empathy. But no, it is interesting to mention. Now, where I have the bigger problem with it isn't just the human kind of nature of it. It's the fact that he kind of let it affect his call out. Like,
like it ruined his post-fight interview.
Yeah, Felder was throwing him alley-oops, and he was just letting him go into the third row. Like, he just, you know, he has a highlight. I'm assuming he got a bonus for that, right? I mean, I would fucking hope so.
You know what? No. Yeah, no. You're going to be amazed. You're going to be amazed. I told you Todorovic and Wright got a bonus, which is insane.
Yeah, I'll go out and say I have a problem with it, man, because, I mean, the money line was in the ones, so it's not like he came out and got a first-round finish over a guy that he was, you know, minus 600 or something. Like, this was pretty close to being a coin toss. Vegas didn't know how this was going to – and he comes out and get not only a first-round finish, like the under half a round hits on this. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, good point.
I mean, it was violent. It was a highlight. Like, if this isn't a bonus, then I don't know what is. It's on the main card. It wasn't some fight that didn't matter. It was over a name that we all know. I mean, I really don't know what other box you want him to check as far as handing out bonus money, if I'm being real. I didn't, like I said, I mean, Minifield, and I hate to say this, call me Uncle Chael, whatever. It's like, if you don't care about your next fight, dude, how can you expect me to? Like, I know this isn't WWE, or 3 W's, WWW, but this isn't WWE. Not everybody has to be Michael Chandler with the corny voice switch, but it's like, give me something, right? Like, I'm all excited for you. Like, I'm literally shovel, like, I'm about to shovel all the coal in the Minifield hype train, like, want to get you some ranked opponents. I mean, I think there's plenty of guys at 205 he can knock out, and it's just like, but I mean, he was just so, like, you can tell it was the adrenaline dump, the emotions, all that. I feel like he's kind of jaded, which a lot of these fighters are. I get all of that, like I said, on a human level, but, like, set all that aside and advance your career, right? Like,
right. Like, is it you first or them first?
Or fan first, or promotion first, or, yeah, there's a lot of people that come before, like, feeling melancholy, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like.
Also, I mean, you look at Chris Barnett, who loses someone so close to him, has that amazing performance that he had, and then comes out and rocks it on the mic. You gotta seize your moments.
You gotta compartmentalize. You gotta advance your career. Like, I mean, this was a big spot for him, right? Gets the highlight finish, main card, for a guy who's fought on prelims before, right? Like, you gotta take advantage of these moments, man. Especially in a division. We always talk about 205. You can move up fast. You know, there's older names that are on the way down. There was a lot of directions he could take this, but he chose not to, so I'm going to choose not to. Like, honestly, like, I'm done talking about this fight. Like, ordinarily on this podcast, what do you want to see next? Who's the back end of the top 15? I don't want to do any of that because Minifield doesn't want us to do that.
Fair enough. I have a good transition because you did mention Deontay Wilder, so real fast for the next fight. Did you see he knocked the guy with a left hand?
First off, I have a lot of problems with this Deontay Wilder fight over the weekend. I mean, first off, whoever's marketing this shit, the only angle going around and going viral is the one where you can't see dick because of the ropes. It's somebody on that iPhone. What are we doing here? Is this like a backyard Russian hay barn fight? Or is this was like a big time pay-per-view you wanted me to pay $80 for? There's no camera angles of the first round knockout. Second off, who's this guy he's fighting? Nobody knows. I mean, nobody knows at all. Nobody cares. I don't know, dude. I hate boxing, and I wish I didn't, though. Like, I wish I didn't, because, like, without the success of boxing and the long history of boxing, we probably don't have the success of MMA today. We don't have this podcast today. Like, I respect the history of it, what it's done for combat sports, especially here in America, and all of that. It should be awesome. I mean, it was most of our intro to combat sports. Most of us as small children weren't watching, MMA. Boxing was on the TV, like who doesn't love Rocky Balboa and all this? Like, boxing is very, I know it's a worldwide sport, but it's part of American fabric. It's part of sports fan fabric. Like, it's part of the lexicon, but like, I hate it. Like this fight. I mean, it's like, all right, if Francis Ngannou goes and gets a knockout over like Henry Hunsucker, like, why would I care? Like why would I watch it? Why would I pay for it? Like, why would I? But yeah, but like I said, it is so hard to bring it full circle. It is so hard to tell what exactly happens there. But it's because there should be like close up, 4K,
like over the top too, so we're not looking through the ropes. The fucking
why
ropes
are we looking through the ropes? You know the clip I'm talking about, because it's the only clip any of us have seen.
Well,
we didn't buy it.
Helwani retweets it, and I just see you go, "What a dog shit angle."
Oh, you saw? Yeah. What are we doing? I mean, Joe Rogan, everybody's just nut riding this knockout with like the most bootleg, like middle school locker room fight, like camera phone angle. Like, what are we doing? Sorry, hate that.
Unprofessional. I agree with you. Now we'll go ahead and go back into the UFC. I just had to get that tip out because I saw your tweet and I was like, has to be great. Watched it, was like, holy shit, this is a bad angle. But it was a left hand from Wilder, which is the most unheard of shit on earth. So, and he went to a new camp, so, I don't know. Maybe he comes back and he's not going to fight Fury again. That doesn't even make sense. But Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua, fun fight. Wouldn't mind seeing it.
Yeah, wouldn't mind seeing that one. You know why? Because I've heard of the fucking other guy.
Well, I was just going to say, to your point, did knock out a can, so I don't know how much I put in that.
Yeah, like, I don't know, man. Boxing matchmaking sucks. Boxing promotion sucks. Like, I don't know. It's annoying, but I mean, shout out to Deontay Wilder. Seems like a cool guy. Like, I mean, definitely like a very unique talent, like a very unique skill set. But other than that, yeah, I don't have a problem with Deontay Wilder. I have a problem with how boxing, and then you have these guys like Luke Thomas come on. And he'll kind of condescend to MMA fans that like say things similar to what I'm saying. It's like, oh, well, you support monopolies then. You don't want the athletes to have rights, because that's why boxing matchmaking is the way that it is. Like, I just got done watching this Luke Thomas piece where he's like literally saying those exact things and like condescending and is like, oh, so if you don't like boxing matchmaking, you just are a Dana White dick rider and like monopolies. It's like, or maybe Dana White does business the way he does it, not because he's an evil asshole, but because it makes sense and is like fans like it and it makes for a better product. Like,
it's a more sellable product. He can charge me $75 for this upcoming pay-per-view. I'm not going to bat an eye at it because it's like 8 major matchups.
Exactly. No, exactly. Hey, the first boxing pay-per-view I'm going to buy since Conor Floyd, which I didn't really buy, but I watched that.
Anderson Silva on the 29th.
I'm buying it.
Because Anderson Silva's going to piece him out.
I think so, man. And
Anderson Silva beat a guy who's 55-4 in boxing and was a world title holder. I don't think Jake Paul is a prayer.
Everybody keeps going, oh, Tyron Woodley, bro. Like, do you know what Silva would do to Woodley in a boxing match?
Oh, my God.
It'd be insane. Or what Silva does to Nate Robinson in a boxing match.
My God.
I mean, if we're
or Ben Askren.
Yeah, exactly. If we're juxtaposing here, yeah, no, I feel it, man. We'll get this train back on the rails here, but it's like I don't know. It's like I want to like boxing. It's much similar to how I feel about baseball. Like baseball there's a million interesting things to say about baseball. None of us know it because they don't tell us it. You know what I'm saying? Like, anyway, Assunção Henry, let's get it.
So, okay, yeah, let's get it. Silva's minus 130. But it looks like action's coming back to Paul. And Paul opened at minus 180. Just to put it all in perspective.
Yeah, people that know aren't going for it. And Silva's the biggest guy he's fought, right?
Yeah, and also has like the most legit fight credentials of any of the guys he's fought.
Yeah, it doesn't look old. Because we all know, like, people age at different, like, rates. Like, there's guys that are 65 and in nursing homes and can't speak. And then there's guys at 65 that are fucking lifting weights and slinging dick. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's like
triathlons and shit.
Yeah, it's not everybody ages the same. I mean, even our age, we're 28. Like, I still skateboard, you know, like, stay physically fit. There's people that, you know, can't even get up off the couch, you know what I'm saying, that are our same age. So, I mean, age is relative. I know Silva's still technically an old guy, but I don't know. I think he's yeah, for sure, man. And let's hopefully he's on all the acai. I hope he is. I know Paul will be.
Perfect. Yeah, no shit. That's a perfect transition, though, to another old guy at the Bantamweight Division.
Who's aging differently.
Right, who's also Brazilian. Maybe the acai. I don't know. Culinary acai, if anyone wants to know. You can't read it. Doesn't matter. Point is, Assunção's the plus 330 underdog here. Victor Henry minus 410. I don't know Victor Henry from Adam, you know what I mean, in a crowd, so I don't know why he's minus 410.
If it wasn't for the fact that every time I see him on TV, I'm like, oh shit, Pauly Shore from the 80s is fighting. Like identical.
He does look just like that. Just like that. He also does the Ortega thing where he has sick hair, but then he braids it and like ties it back, which I get, you're a fighter, like you have to do that.
Not everybody can be Clay Guida.
Right. But I love that look. Like it's such a savage look.
No, man. I gotta toot my own horn a little bit here. Now, I always say, like, would I bet this fight? Would I not bet this fight? I have in my betting prelim notes, and I sent them to you. You can fact check me. I didn't pick Assunção, but I said that, like, Assunção could very much win this, but I'm not picking him because he has, like, on a 4L streak. But you start looking at the matchup, I was like, I have in my notes, like, I'm not going to bet it, but, like, Assunção could win this fight. Like, I don't know if I want to say that's a prediction. It's pretty lukewarm, pretty politician answer. But, hey, I mean, I don't think too many other people were going even slightly against the minus 410.
No, I agree with you. And from my own perspective, whenever this fight was walking out, I was like, man, Victor Henry minus 410. I don't know if I like him that much, but I definitely like him as the favorite here. I definitely think it's the fight he should win.
But the value on Assunção at that number.
Oh, yeah, crazy value. Assunção's finally not ranked, which he was ranked for so long. That we're kind of at that point where it's like he's either going to hold himself where he's at and be the gatekeeper, or he's going to continue to fall and essentially retire.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's tough because if you look at, there's a lot of red on his Tapology, but who's it to? So coming into this, he's on a 4L streak.
Like top 10 people.
Mariah's, and it was 2019 Mariah, so not quite as washed, you know what I'm saying? And then it's Corey Sandhagen, 2019, like prime ascension Sandhagen. Then you got Cody Garbrandt, which, you know, I guess that's open for interpretation. That's still by no stretch of can high level guy.
As I recall, they were trading off in that fight, and Assunção just lost the trades, but Garbrandt was hurt.
And then you got Ricky Simone, who's a nightmare matchup and a young lion. I mean, so... And do I think Victor Henry's better than any of those guys on that list? No. So that's why it was like, well, you know, it's hard to really like puff your chest out and put your money on a guy on a 4L streak that's 40. Right. However, I mean, I think Victor Henry's worse than all the guys that he lost to when he lost to him at least. And Victor Henry, that's another thing. There's kind of this narrative that was being painted like, oh, young prospect versus old vet. Victor Henry's 35. So
yeah, he's old too. That was my biggest point too. Is like, I don't know him, and he's this old. It's already a problem.
Exactly, dude. So it's now if there was like a 25, 28-year-old version of Victor Henry that like Assunção was matched up against some young lion, all right, cool. The minus 410 makes a lot of sense. But like the fact that Henry was old too, and was a step down in competition, more than likely for Sun Sal. I said I wasn't bullish on it, but the path to victory for Sun Sal existed as much as any path to victory does for a guy that's plus 330. And I see where you see where we're getting at with this, what we're laying the table for. Bantamweight division, round one was really the only round that was in question, and it was because it was snoozy. I still gave it to a Sun Sal. Now, because Henry had some success with some body kicks and some pressure, but I still gave it to a Sun Sal. I thought a Sun Sal did more damage, landed cleaner, landed harder.
Every time Henry tried to get close, the Sun Sal would land a nice counter, or he'd be able to get in close enough to grapple, and it seemed like he was somehow the stronger guy in the clinches standing, and then he would disengage and get back to his range. I thought it was close, but I thought Sun Sal did all the right things to make sure he was the winner of that round.
I agree. And also, I thought we saw something happen, which, Channel brings it up all the time. When you're in a fight that's harder than you expected it to be, shit starts to unravel. And we see it all the time. We saw it with Nunez Pena 1.
Isn't that the truth, though?
And Victor Henry, it's hard to not watch this fight and think that, like, he knew he was a minus 410 favorite. He was thinking of this fight like, I'm going to go in and beat up this old dude. And then he started getting touched with some shit. And you can see him kind of being like, oh, this isn't necessarily how I thought this was going to go. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly right.
And I thought that was a big factor here. Also, round two, whenever a Sun Sal catches the kick and then just kind of just right hands him all the way across the octagon. That was sick. That was
sick. 4, in a row, just one. Keeps going with him. 1, 2. Keeps going. 3.
I was waiting for him to try to switch it to a takedown. I didn't think he was going to keep going. He just it was very I don't know, bro.
Movie-esque. You see that movie choreographed fights where you're like, nah, some guy would either kick their leg out of that or just go down, or the other guy would quit chasing that.
Yeah, exactly, bro. I was I didn't expect it to go down. So that was fun. You know what I mean? It wasn't the most technical, that's what I wanted to see from a Sun Sal. He was in a fight. He wasn't I'm going to try to out X's and O's this guy, or take an Izzy Adesanya approach, or he calls himself a counter striker, which we all know that can turn snoozy real fucking quick.
So fast.
And so I don't know, dude. When I saw him do that, I was like, dude, a Sun Sal. It was like a college football game with a big kick return or something. You feel the momentum turn. He's Victor Henry starting to realize oh shit, I'm in a fight. And the Sun Sal's hey, I still got this shit.
Yeah, Sun Sal's man, my game plan's really nice tonight.
Yeah, no, I don't know, man. So I thought that was a huge pivotal moment. And then he gets on top of him and starts ground and pounding him. And then in round 3, he really does. He gets the takedown, but then he also lets him come to him and counters well. And so that's another thing. So everybody hears counter fighter and thinks backwards, like a cornerback backpedal. A Sun Sal was hooking off angles like high level guys do. It was on full display. A Sun Sal, I'll be real. I hate the word counter striker was like a gross word to me. A Sun Sal made me re-understand that it can look dope.
Yeah, and they weren't the biggest, maybe 15, 20 degrees off the angle. Not even the full 45 out to that, full diagonal. He was just right off the center line and then connecting back down the sides.
This fight wasn't close, bro. A Sun Sal tuned up Victor Henry as a plus 330 dog.
Yeah, and I thought the rounds got further apart as they continued to go. A Sun Sal by the end just had Henry broken, was fighting completely his fight as far as comfortability. Henry was going for it, but going for it against a guy that can counter that smoothly is almost to your detriment. You have to get up early and be able to ride it out with him.
Yeah, no, and Henry, just literally wasn't having success. A Sun Sal had an answer for fucking everything.
Yeah, whoever he practiced with and sparring as a karate, kind of lighter on the feet striker did him a great job because he was ready for everything Henry was trying to throw.
100%. And then now we find ourselves in a weird spot, right? I guess a good weird spot, but it's we've seen a Sun Sal against the higher end guys, right? But now we've seen him against the lower end guy. He really is. I hope they let him be the bantamweight Clay Guida. Clay Guida, he doesn't get cans, but he doesn't get fed to the Lions. He just gets these good matchup fights that are fun for the fans, fun for Clay Guida. I don't know. I see it's not often that I say this. They say like the UFC is for contenders, or that's it. Like you're either going for a title or you're not. You know what I mean? But I think that for the Clay Guidas of the world, the Assunçãos of the world, they've done some heavy lifting. They've done the company some favors. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I know Frankie Edgar's retiring, but like those type of fights, you know what I'm saying? I wouldn't mind because like I don't want to see a Assunção in there with Davishvili or these young guys. But like I also don't want to see him like fight like contender series guys like that I've never heard of. Like, let's get him in that Clay Guida sweet spot, that Darren Elkins sweet spot. I don't know, that Nate Landwehr sweet spot. What do you think?
I think you're right, man. Or he's. It's tough, though, because, like, he does probably need to keep fighting up-and-comers, which sucks for him, you know what I mean? But he's going to have to keep doing that because at bantamweight, there's just so much new blood that's so good that he's going to be the gatekeeper, essentially, for the top 20, top 15, like, right in that window. But, like, that's such a tough spot at bantamweight, man. Like, that's a tough spot.
Not fun. I mean, it's fun for us because nobody loves, like, young, unranked bantamweights more than us. And then we'll get to see, like, our hype kind of tested and proved or derailed or whatever. Like I actually like those. Which Clay Guida's done plenty of that too. So maybe we're kind of saying the same thing. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm happy for Assunção. Like usually when these 40-year-old guys are still fighting or whatever, it's like I don't usually have this tenor. If you watch this podcast, you know that. Usually we're like, all right, you got the win, get out while the getting's good, enjoy your last win bonus. I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing Assunção in there a couple more times.
Right, like, essentially what you're saying, and I get it, is that we're typically ready for these guys to be out of the promotion by the time they reach this point in their career. Or we're waiting to see them lose one or two more and kind of go out the salty way, or retire before that and go out, with at least their head held high. Here in Assunção's case, he seems to be ready to make, not a run at the belt, but a nice end to his career.
Yeah, I agree. And I think like tempering those expectations is like the key to like enjoying these last couple of Assunção fights and the key to hopefully what they're using to matchmaking. I got to take a piss real quick and grab another beer. I don't know if you do too, but I'll be right back.
Sweet. So one of the things, this next fight up is middleweights. Essentially, I'll go ahead and break down the topology or fight records of these two guys. Maybe to help explain where I get... So this was one of my most confident picks of the fight, being Duško Todorovic over Jordan Wright. And if it was just one round, it was either round one or round two, maybe that's harder to say. But we will get to why I felt that way. And it all has to do with the past people that Jordan Wright has fought. There's Titus, everyone. Meet my dog. Big and fat, your friendly neighborhood hound. Yeah, quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. That's this guy. That's you, buddy. The lazy dog. But essentially, with Jordan Wright, man, my big problem here is that his first fight in the UFC is... So I was just breaking down Jordan Wright's past few fights, essentially all of his UFC fights, because there's only 5 of them, now 6, but coming into this, his first fight, he beats Ike Villanueva by doctor stoppage. That was literally the last fight Ike Villanueva took at 205 before he was just fat and done and didn't give a shit about fighting, which I think he might have already been there in that fight.
Exactly. That win aged very poorly.
And then you have the Joaquin Buckley loss, which is a second-round knockout in 18 seconds. Obviously, Buckley's gone on to look pretty good in the UFC. I'm not going to hold it against him the most, but the KO was pretty vicious. Then he knocks out Jamie Pickett in 1 minute of their fight. Jamie Pickett, not like the most impressive middleweight.
Yeah, super, yeah.
Then he gets KO'd in 1 minute, 28 seconds by Bruno Silva in December of last year. Then he fights...
Bruno Silva, pretty mid, right?
Right. Then he gets submitted in 2.5 minutes by the power bar. Marc-Andre Barriault coming into this fight.
And this is known for subbing people.
Right, exactly. Well, he hurt him on the feet and then got an easy sub because he hurt him. And then he's going to fight Duško Todorovic, who is Mr. Zero, as we like to call him, because he was like, yeah, not losing my zero would be honestly more important than like the belt. Well, now.
And then he hasn't won a fight since he said that.
Right, and we called him on that. I think that's one of the best calls we've made.
But Carfax can show how
I see what you're trying to do. And so, as it comes out, Todorovic here is the minus 210 favorite. Jordan Wright's the plus 180. The reason I like Todorovic so much in this, it has more so to do with that he throws powerful shots, and Jordan Wright literally has a chin of glass. And at middleweight, that's just not going to work.
Glass chin, true. Very true. When I was looking at this one as like a preview, like, did I want to bet it? Did I not want to bet it? First off, I did view it as a coin flip because I honestly can't stand either of these fighters. I honestly think they're both cans. I think really the card placement on this was bewildering to me.
Yeah,
now, the
blew
fight
my mind.
ended up
These guys should have been prelims.
the definition of prelims, like jerk the curtain, like what the fuck? Yeah, no, I mean, two of my least favorite fighters in the promotion, two of my like least respected fighters in the promotion. I think I've lost money betting on Todorovic twice now, so he's on my do not bet list, like never bet again. and then Jordan Wright's on my like glass chin list, like can lose to anybody at any moment list.
Yeah, and the glass chin list for me is what just like beats me down so hard. Is that like, man, at middleweight you have to have at least a little bit of a chin.
Well, it's just like, honestly, the value just turned me off of this one. This was essentially like I've also kind of have a new rule for myself where like if I don't like either fighter, I'm not betting the fight. Like I don't feel a way about it. Like I really don't fuck with either of these guys. And then two, the value, like, all right, mate, you're right. I kind of leaned Todorovic too. I thought he was slightly more of a dog, but however, at minus 210, there's like no reason for me to. You know what I'm saying? Like I hated that money line as far as like betting Todorovic. Like okay, even if I did come down on the side of Todorovic, it's not by 2-1. Like I'm not eating that value. And I'm sure as hell not putting that in a parlay. So fuck it. This was a no bet. Actually, this is more than a no bet. This is like a don't touch with a 10-foot pole for me. I hated this fight. I hated this matchmaking. I hated the card placement, and I hated the betting money line. Let's dive into it. I'm sure you've laid everything else out.
Yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. So, my my notes coming into this are Jordan Wright needs to either just not get knocked out or somehow get a win, because after his last 4 or 5 rather, the brutal KOs are starting to stack. Right? It's at the point where it's like, man, if I see you get KO'd one more time, I don't even know if I can support you fighting here in this league, because if you lose this one, you're 1-4. And none of your fights get to the second round for the most part, even the halfway. Honestly, that's the best bet in Jordan Wright. He hasn't made a fight in the UFC last to the halfway point of the fight. So under 1.5 has never not hit for him.
True, but on the flip side, Todorovic is Decision McGee.
I know, but like it's just one of those like glass chin things, right? So like,
true.
As it goes out, man, round 1. I mean, it's Jordan Wright's round. He cracks Todorovic, hurts him, drops him. I mean, damn near had the finish, I thought.
Yeah, he had like what 3, maybe 4 takedowns as well. Yeah, actually, I really liked his aggression once he goes on the ground. The ground and pound was like really clean, really nice.
It was nice, and the way he stayed from the heel hook or rolled with it each time and figured forward his own legs to make sure he stayed out of it. I mean, he showed some high technique moves and positions to where I thought like, okay, maybe I'm a little wrong about Jordan Wright here. Maybe he's getting better. He's learning how to fight smarter because he was pressing the grappling, which ensures he's not going to eat these crazy big shots. I liked all that, man. I gave him the first round 10-9. I thought, if he keeps doing this, my bet's going to look really stupid. He's going to get the over 1.5 rounds, blah, 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 right? Mm-hmm. Well, as it turns out, Todorovic, I don't know what his corner said to him, probably was, hey, just get into a brawl with him. He'll brawl back, and then you win because he doesn't have a chin to brawl, but he'll do it. And he does it every time, man. Every time someone tries to brawl with him, he's just like happy to trade, and it's like, dude, you don't have the chin for this. You can't do this.
Yeah, very true, man. Very true. Yeah, because that's what happens in round 2. Todorovic comes out with his balls on fire and just makes it a brawl, as you said. And also we can't tell the story of this fight without mentioning the fact that like Jordan Wright was gassed like 100%. Like he was.
Oh yeah, like it was a mixture of like bad chin and no gas tank.
Yeah, which it's I don't know. It's like because like the whole thing. Yeah, Jordan Wright never makes it past 1.5 rounds, but also it's like you should be training to, right? Like, is your game plan to not last more than
Yeah,
a round?
like do you train to empty your tank in 7 minutes every fight, and if it gets to 8 minutes, are you fucked? Like that's not the way you should fight.
That's what it looked like, right? I mean, that's what it looked like. Like, just because something manifests itself that way on fight night doesn't mean that's how you should be like preparing. Which is like, there's really no other way to interpret it if you're. Because I mean, yeah, it was a pretty high paced round, but it wasn't like the highest paced round. Like, you should be able to have more than one round of gas in you, especially if you're winning the round, because that means like you should be in charge of like where this gas is being spent, right? Like it's not like Todorovic is pushing the pace on him. You know what I mean?
It's like you were putting it all over him. Like you had him hurt. Like why should his gas tank not be worse than yours right now? Like why is he coming out of round one more fresh than you?
Yeah, 100%. And to me, that's what this really boiled down to. Maybe you saw something else. It was kind of a stylistic game plan change, but I just saw one guy being gassed and just getting teed off on it. And I mean, Todorovic comes out and gets the finish 3 minutes and 12 seconds in. He knocked him down, or did he take him down? I forget.
It was kind of like a damaged takedown.
Yeah.
Like had him hurt, and they just kind of fell into the floor, essentially, more or less.
Okay. Yeah, for sure, man. And then, see, this is just, it was good matchmaking. It was the best matchmaking, and it was the worst matchmaking, because these are like the only two guys that could have even fought each other in this weight class, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Like, they were at a very similar do or die point in their career.
You know what's the worst thing about this fight? I told you it gets a bonus. They got fight of the night.
I just don't get it at all. I mean, I guess the back and forth nature of it, the comeback nature of it, but
yeah, I guess. But I feel like there's so many other fights that could have got fight of the night.
Also, it's like we know the context. We know it's you got to knock out over Jordan Wright, so we value that like
That's
very
my point.
little.
You got to finish on a guy that's already been finished.
Like
four
that
times.
Everybody finishes. Yeah, exactly. Like I guess like maybe like if this was like some PFL fight where like I didn't know the guys and I'm like literally just watching this fight in a vacuum, maybe I kind of understand it. But I guess I was just so like jaded towards this fight and like was salty at the card placement and salty that like it's like two of my least favorite guys are fighting each other, like gross. Like, you know what I mean?
I'm with you, bro. Like, wasn't a fight I loved, hated the card placement, didn't necessarily love the way the fight was playing out. I mean, yeah, I loved the back and forth, and yeah, it was a wild ride. But when I don't respect the defense of either guy, it's like, how do I love the offense I'm seeing it's almost like a game that's 65-59, and it's like, well, yeah, I love the offense here, but I got to take a step back and say there's no fucking defense.
Yeah, exactly, man. And like you factor in the gassing too, and it's like, well, he didn't out technique him or out dog him. Like he beat. I mean, cardio is a huge part of MMA. So like, I'm by no means giving Jordan Wright a pass. The opposite. Like that's a huge minus in his box. But like finishing a guy who's gassed himself out, beating you up.
Tough.
I mean, tough. Yeah. And then, like I said, it's not like, okay, this is Darren Elkins and, like, this is what this guy does. Or this is, you know what I mean? Or David Onama, Nate Landwehr, like, I mean, this is Todorovic we're talking about. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I would have been much, much, much happier with this being a Todorovic bonus and someone else getting a bonus as well, and them just doing 4 winner bonuses and no fight tonight.
Not someone else. Fucking, Minifield.
I agree with you entirely. Like, yeah, Minifield isn't a bonus. They couldn't just give Todorovic a bonus.
Like, Jordan Wright owes Minifield $50,000,
or at least 25. Like, at least go split it with him.
Seriously, man. But all right, let's quit talking about this fight that we hated, and let's get to a fight that I was really looking forward to.
Great fight too. Like I love this fight. Like the eyes of this fight. Like just watching it, the visual aspects, very fun fight. Like very fun fight. Both guys very active. Both guys looked very sharp, very proficient. Jonathan Martinez showed me a lot. I mean, he is the minus 205 favorite. That's kind of juicy on Martinez here. Cub Swanson plus 175.
Yeah, I honestly thought that number was low, bro. And
Yeah,
I'll
I
give
thought
it.
it should
This
like
is my
minus
luck.
280.
Yeah, the fact that it was minus 205, and you know me, I'm a cheapskate better if there ever was one. I'm a dog better if there ever was one. You know for me to be drooling over minus 205 says a lot.
I
Like I
want to
was like,
say
oh, Value City.
I want to say the Vegas sharp money was crazy too because I think this was minus 180 or minus 185 on Wednesday when I had last checked. Because on Thursday I told someone that's the lock. Go for it if you're looking for a lock. He's minus 190, so there's great value here. And then it was all the way up to minus 205 a day and a half later.
Yeah, and I mean, we all love Cub Swanson, right? Much respect, but all right, you can say this is too broad a stroke if you want to, but there's certain trends that hold true. Like, name me a fighter over the age of 37 that went down in weight class that like went on to have success. Okay, you're gonna give me Jose Aldo, which he wasn't that old, but that's the closest parallel, and that's probably gonna be the answer that people give. Okay, outlier for sure. Give me another one. It doesn't happen. Now guys get older and go up in weight class and have success. But find me especially when we talk these smaller weight classes. Like name me a guy.
Barboza did all right at that when he went from 45 to 35.
Did Barboza, or he went from 55 to 45, I think. But
yes, that's what I mean.
But I think Bantam is like, that's a big cut. I mean, we're talking small. I don't know, bro. Name me first off, name me a 38-year-old guy that weighs 135 pounds. Like, there's just not many of them, like, walking the planet. Like,
That's a good point.
Like I said, you can say it's too broad of a stroke, but when I saw a 38-year-old, yeah, you may have name value, Cub Swanson, you're a good fighter, for sure. Give me a 38-year-old that's dropping down to 135. That'd be different. Maybe we're talking 205 to 85 or heavyweight to 205, but down to 135, that old, long career, a lot of mileage, a lot of weight cuts already. I don't know, bro. I knew how this one was going to end. Call it oversimplification. Call it broad stroke. 38-year-olds ain't dropping down to bantamweight. And then, like I said, maybe he's fighting another old guy. He's fighting Jonathan Martinez, like the definition of a young lion. When we talk about like unranked bantamweights that are killers and have a bright future and future contenders, like that's what we're talking about. Guys like Jonathan Martinez, like he's the reason we're the bantamweight breakdown. Like guys like him.
No, I mean, perfectly said, man. If you look at Jonathan Martinez's skill set as well, without giving too much away, he mixes the martial arts so well. Strong guy, and his kicks are just so good, man. And the commentators did a good job of coming into this fight talking about how this is probably a more stand-up fight. Cub Swanson is a black belt. Doesn't normally show that too much though, so it's not really something you have to worry about too much.
He fucked up. That's he should have.
That was his path. That was his only path.
He should have came out wearing a gi. Like seriously, like you can't strike with Jonathan Martinez, man.
Right, because his kicks are so well woven with his punches. I mean, the body kicks he was landing with his left leg, he was lighting up Cub Swanson from the neck down.
Like he kicks people. Like you know those clips Joe Rogan will post where he like loads up like extremely powerful kicks to the heavy bag and like it makes a big loud noise and everybody goes, ooh, Joe's has good kicks. Like Martinez does that to people like multiple times around. Like he literally, I don't know, like I know that's not I'm not over here like painting pictures with my words, but like Martinez kicks people the way other people kick bags. Like we'll all see the training vids and the Instagram reels of people kicking heavy bags, but like then when they're in the fight, you know, you're so touch and go and you're so worried about the defense and you're so worried about setting it up. Like you rarely see people like really twist and tort into those kicks the way that you see Martinez do in actual fights. Like it stands out to me. Like it pops off the screen the way Martinez puts so much into those kicks, but somehow manages to do it fast enough because like you wouldn't say like, oh, you're describing a telegraphed kick. He manages to have his cake and eat it too. Like it happens so quick, but he also loads up on it so much. It's really freakish. I really don't even know if there's a comp. At least not like an active comp. Like I don't know. Martinez's kicks look different than other people's kicks at any weight class.
Well, and he lands the kicks in different spots too, right? Like leg kicks, body kicks. I've seen him do some head kicks, and he'll switch up. It's not always the roundhouse. Sometimes the teep. Sometimes like an inside low kick. I think he's really good at using that weapon in different locations.
like what Martinez and Fiziev, like
Best
body
kicks.
kicks and leg kick, like best kicks probably in general. Just I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, somebody can throw out a
Chris,
Wonder Boy if they want to,
Chris
but
Gutierrez
whatever.
has super good kicks as well, but obviously a
Who
much more.
trains with this guy? That's what Felder was talking about. He's like, holy shit, you guys just must kick the fuck out of each other. Like Gutierrez and Martinez are training partners. So imagine watching those sparring sessions.
Dude, imagine how tough both their legs are from eating each other's leg kicks too.
Yeah, iron sharpening iron there for sure. And I mean, we can get to it, man. 'Cause, I mean, round one, I had a 10-9 Martinez. Now Martinez like gets a knee to the head for a knockdown.
Case for a 10-8 here.
Yeah, my notes.
Too little,
Literally,
not. It was a lot too late. If it had been 30 seconds earlier that he did that, Cub Swanson obviously doesn't even survive because I think Herb Dean was literally this close to stepping in when the bell sounds. But that's kind of my point in the 10-8 is like that fight ends in 2 more seconds.
I agree. I addressed that in my notes. I have it 10-9. I literally say the rest of the round, besides that last knee and drop and knockdown, the rest of the round was close enough to keep it at 10-9.
I'm with you. I have the same notes. Same notes.
But like, if somebody gave that a 10-8, like I'm not dying on a hill. Like that was that was a lot of damage. I mean,
well, in respect to Martinez too, because he came out in open round 2 like he knew that he had Cub Swanson hurt. I mean, literally just pretty much took the bully approach, walked him down for the first 30 seconds of round 2, and just put a flurry on him to try and get him hurt again and get him back into that spot.
yeah, man. Think about the people that Cub Swanson has fought and the people that haven't made Cub Swanson look scared.
Yeah.
And maybe scared's the wrong word, whatever, insert whatever word you want to use. But, I mean, round 2, Cub Swanson's body language. I mean, every time Martinez would do a leg kick, which they were the gnarliest fucking leg kicks. Like, I'm not, like, trying to discount it, but Swanson was sitting down every time his legs got kicked. I think he had like 3 knockdowns with leg kicks in the second round, if I'm not, or close to it.
That inside left was just tearing up Cub Swanson's left.
And it wasn't like he was sweeping the leg. Like he would hit it and then Swanson would go down.
Mm-hmm.
Like Swanson was switching stances.
But he wasn't just chopping at it like randomly and eating shots up top. He was mixing them into combos every single time.
The way he whips it, isn't it just like he puts that extra...
Like it
that
snaps,
extra
it snaps into it. It's almost like a slingshot when he does it. You know what I mean? Like a rubber band. Like it like loads and then it just flies through.
Yeah, 100%. It just looks different. It jumps off the screen, and it's like we know Cub Swanson's a tough son bitch. Like that's literally what he's known for. Like he has a reputation as being like, okay, win some, lose some. Like gonna go out like a gangster. Like he sat him down. He pretty much made him say uncle, and that's Cub Swanson we're talking about.
I know it, man. It was pretty much one of the more impressive leg kick stoppages I've seen. I mean, it made me think that Cub Swanson retore something in his knee because he was like that last kick landed on the knee joint like perfectly, and he literally dove to the ground and rolled and was just covering.
That's another thing I noticed. Like when I was watching it live, you know, casual take McGee. I thought it was like calf.
I thought it was calf. I thought it was a calf. It was straight knee.
Yeah, you watch it in slow-mo, and it was higher up than you typically see. And I don't know, I mean, I have no choice but to believe it was on purpose because Martinez is so precise and good with his kicks. Like he's kicking where he wants to kick. Yeah. We all know Martinez is good 100%. At kicking. So that wasn't a fluke. That was intentional. I mean, bro, he beat the shit out of Cub Swanson. Because usually, so he ends up getting TKO 4 minutes, 19 seconds into round 2, leg kick TKO. And that doesn't ordinarily sound like leg kick TKO. You may think like O'Malley, perennial nerve, like fluky. What? No, this was, I mean, every bit.
Cub Swanson quit.
Yeah, he made Cub Swanson quit, which is words that like you don't even expect to come out of your mouth, man. I interpret it the same way. Like Cub Swanson like found a way out of there. Like I'm not saying like, you know, I would have done any different or anybody would have done anything different. Like, I think there's a limited number of Martinez's kicks that a human being can eat. Seriously.
No, credit
that there's like a counter on. Like, you have so many you can take and you're done.
Credit to the UFC here. They do give Martinez the bonus for the finish. Very much deservedly so.
Yeah, the name value.
Plus the leg kick finish, man. I mean, that's a brutal way to get a finish.
first co-main, like the spot that he did it in. Now, maybe the least interesting guy of all time, which in a division like Bantamweight does not
His post-fight interview
help
was
you.
not great.
But, not everybody's going to have that it factor,
They
You
can't
see
all
guys
have
like
it, or else it
Beneil
wouldn't be it.
Dariush kind of works his way up there the hard way, win after win, that's one option you can take, you know what I'm saying? The Davishvilis of the world, like, not everybody has to be an O'Malley, a Henry Cejudo, Joaquin Buckley, a Kevin Holland. Like, not everybody has to be a super entertaining guy, but it'd be cooler if you were, because you're getting, TKO stoppages over names like Cub Swanson in co-main events. Like, ordinarily, I'm like, this guy's on his way to a main event, or this guy's getting a top 10 opponent. But it's like, I don't believe he had a call out. And if he did, it was so boring that I don't remember it. And he was just super, like, quiet on the mic, super mild-mannered, soft-spoken, which I said, some guys are like that. Like, those humans exist. At the same time, I
Not
don't
great
know.
for an entertainment-based sport.
Yeah.
That's
for
true in any
sure,
sport, man. Football, any of those sports, where when you have like a loudmouth dude, they're way more fun. Every time they back it up, they're more fun, and the more times they back it up, the more haters they get, which means the more people that watch them when they can fall.
Exactly. So, as far as what's next, you kind of can't go wrong.
I mean,
it's without.
Jack Shore, dude, Yanez is the most fun fight in the division right now for him.
And I think Martinez, you know me, I'm a Yanez dick rider. I think Martinez is a tough matchup because what does Yanez want to do?
I think they're both tough for each other.
But what does Yanez want to do? He wants to box.
But he wants to counterbox too, though.
But what does Martinez do? Not let you get in boxing range. Like, he kicks the fuck out of you. Like, I don't know. That's tough. Obviously, this ship has sailed. The O'Malley, as far as matchup goes, as far as long guys with good kicks, like
Umar Nurmagomedov would be fun too.
It would. It's more of that striker grappler matchup, which that's fine. That's what MMA is all about.
Umar's got those sick kicks though.
He does. Umar's very sick kicks, but that's what I'm saying. I think Umar wins that one.
Me too. Still fun though.
Still fun. You're not wrong. I think Jack Shore, if we're talking fun and productive, and even like taller guy, matchup height, lengthwise.
Shore also fights smart, so he's going to push for grappling here, which is going to kind of negate the leg reach.
For sure, because then, above that, you got Frankie Edgar. His last fight's already signed. He's got 1 foot out the door. Might as well not even count him. Ricky Simone's 10. I don't think he's wanting to fight backward. I think he deserves somewhere up. Dude, all right, this is a hot take. Probably not going to happen, but you want to talk fun? You want to talk maybe getting Martinez in a main event? Song Yadong coming off the loss all the way down at 9? That would be kind of salty to do for Yadong, but, that's fireworks. That's gnarly.
Super fun fight. They're probably more likely to go with the Shore approach.
Yeah, I agree.
Or even they don't really put any respect on Yanez, so I could try to see them using him to leapfrog Martinez up there.
See, I think Yanez is a guy they want to build. Maybe that's my own personal Twitter feed influence into how I interpret Yanez.
They made him fight so many low guys and didn't give him hardly any rungs up the ladder as he's had to climb it, which makes it all the more impressive he's where he's at.
For sure, man. A lot of fun. Hate to do it. Got to pee one last time before this main event. Then I'll be right back and we'll wrap this bad boy up.
Yeah, sounds good. Fire main event.
Hey, baby, I got one more fight to break down.
One more, he said. You heard it. Tell him at home. We got the main event. Main event does feature ranked fighters, which we were missing the entire rest of this card. Now, granted, Askar Askarov, Brandon Royval have been in 4 versus 6, or 3 versus 6, whatever it is. Would have been a great addition to this card. Would have put Martinez in the spot back one, which I think would have been more apt card placement. Granted, he did deliver, so he kind of verified his own card placement, which good for him. Gave me and DMAC the reasonings to talk about why he should fight in the top 15. But here in this main event, we do have number 5 at flyweight, women's flyweight, Alexa Grasso, minus 215 against number 6, Rankings McGee has to love the 5 vs. 6 matchup. Viviane Araujo at plus 185. Honestly, a stylistically very fun fight we're about to incur on as well. Because it's one where if Araujo can grapple, be stronger, oh yeah, big beers, and get in the face of, is that a Bud Light?
Yeah, I'm a real
Christ.
scumbag over here.
The West Coast just has the weirdest beers. Or beer sizes, rather. Man, I thought this was a super fun main event. The scorecards don't really tell the story of how close this fight is. I even thought this fight could have been the fight of the night.
For sure. Wouldn't have been mad at it. So here's the thing, man. That just, I was less hyped on this main event than most people for one reason and one reason only. I'm not the biggest Grasso guy. How I feel about Grasso, she's this girl that everybody, when I say everybody, MMA media, MMA podcasters, held the rankings. Everybody tells me, like, I'm supposed to have so much respect on Grasso's name. She's next up. I mean, I've been hearing this. I mean, the whole Beefy Boys era, we've been hearing these whispers, like, Grasso's going to be the one for Shevchenko, like, working her way up the rankings. You know me. I love active fighters. I hate that she fights once a year. She has 3 fights since 2019.
Problematic.
No, she shows growth in between. So obviously she's working hard, and they're doing the slow build or whatever. And then Araujo is a really good fighter, really dangerous fighter, really good athlete. However, I don't view her. I think 6 is about as high as she gets, right? Like, I didn't view her as that next up. Now, a win over Grasso would have definitely changed that, and I understand why they made the fight. But I guess I'm not as high on Grasso as everyone else was. I don't project Araujo as a future champ. So this was being, like, sold to me as a number 1 contenders match. And I
hate that sell, because that's not what it is, but it is the match to kind of determine who gets to fight for number 1 next, in my opinion.
I agree. It's the fight before the fight before. Hold on one second. Hey, baby, this is my last fight breakdown. Just a heads up. I'll be ready soon.
Well, it's also tough because, the real number 1 contender is obviously Manon Fior, Caitlin Chikagian.
Yeah, can't wait for that one. Like,
and I
seriously.
also think that if Manon Fior fights either of these girls, she picks them apart.
Yeah, I think the winner of this fight gets the winner of Chikagian Fiorot, potentially.
I think the winner of that fight gets the title.
Or do you think the winner of this one gets Tyler Santos, maybe, number 2?
I can see the winner of this one getting Tyler Santos, or I can see them getting the loser of Manon Fior and Chikagian, if Chikagian is, in fact, the loser there.
Now, I will say this. For all the kind of Debbie Downer that I just put on this, it is dope to have, like, the top end of flyweights kind of alive right now. Like, the fact that we have all these names and these potential future matchups, it's fun. Because, like, when you have a dominant champion like Shevchenko, you don't get to have a lot of fun. I mean, we saw it when John Jones ruled 205, right? Like, Volk at 45 right now. It's like, oh, I'm so excited for Josh Emmett. And it's like, a dominant champion can make divisions stale. I know that's kind of counterintuitive, but we've seen it time and time again. And Shevchenko kind of did have 125. I mean, think about it. What was it?
Until Tyler Santos gave her that run for her money in her last fight, we thought it was just bought and sold the flyweight division for the women.
Exactly. I mean, because you got to think. I mean, what? 8 months ago, Cynthia Calvillo's in the top 5, and we're just rolling our eyes at this division. It's the Lauren Murphys, the Cynthia Calvillo's. We're like, who the fuck cares? I mean, we had, and now, I mean, you got the Tyler Santoses of the world, the Grassos of the world, the Fioros of the world. It's fun again. The Casey O'Neill and Blanchfield
Casey O'Neill and Blanchfield are sitting in the back just gnashing their teeth waiting, too. I think Casey O'Neill's going to be nasty for these girls when she makes it up there.
For sure, man. For sure. So, I mean, we set the table here. We're stoked on women's flyweight, which is fun to say, right? Because when this podcast started, women's flyweight was probably the worst division in all of MMA.
It's the most fun women's division right now.
It really kind of is, right? It's crazy how that switched, man. I'm glad you see it the same way. So, yeah, we got Grasso number 5, Araujo number 6, fighting at flyweight. A major impact for the division. Interesting is, I think round 1 is really the only controversy. I mean, now the thing is,
I thought 1, 3, and 4 were all close.
See, I thought 1, 2, 3 and 5. I had 4 as the only one that wasn't that close, in my opinion. That being said, we're painting a very similar picture. This is a classic fight where each round was close, but I think each round had a winner.
Yeah, fully agree.
Jesus.
Fully agree. I need to lay off the cigs, these things. E-cigs. No, I agree with you, man. I thought round 1, I saw a good amount of people on, well, not Twitter necessarily, but maybe the commentators trying to maybe bias it a little bit, in my opinion. I thought Grasso won round 1. I thought she landed the more impactful strikes. I thought the one time she tried to get the takedown, she immediately got slammed to her back, and they stood right back up. I thought Grasso fought a good first round.
I'll push back a little bit. Round 1, I gave to Araujo. I do have the words close. I did struggle with it. And the reason why I gave it to her, kind of casual take, I'll be honest. Grasso looked a little more beat up. There were some visible little red marks. And, I mean, in a round that was super close, I gave it to the lady that had a little bit more what I interpret as damage and also had the takedown. Like you said, wasn't the most impactful takedown, didn't do a lot with it, but when a round's super close,
you know what's
and you're
odd?
Looking for reasons to kind of give it to somebody.
They didn't officially credit her that takedown because she never got over the top of Grasso because Grasso immediately threw her to her back when they hit.
Fair point. Fair point. I'm glad you brought that to the pod. So I'm not super bullish on it. When you see the rest of my scorecard, though, I don't know. Like, I thought, I'll go as far as to say without trying to spoil too much, I thought round 1 was Araujo's best round of the fight.
Sorry, ESPN, man. I don't know why the videos just unpause themselves on the little ads. But fuck them.
Dude, but what do you think about that take, though? Round 1, Araujo's best round, or do you have another round?
Round 1 or round 3? Those are the only 2 rounds I thought Araujo had a case to winning the round in.
Okay, fair enough.
And one I don't have a problem with because if we keep it pushing to round 2.
Yeah.
So round 2, I do score to Grasso. I thought that she kind of hemmed up those damaging points she was taking, started to land more cleanly without taking the damage beforehand to land those counter shots. So in my notes there, I do have it 2-0, but I said I have no problem with 1-1. So I thought the first round was close enough where I don't have a problem with Araujo being given that round.
For sure. Round 2, I also thought was close because, what was it, like 4 minutes and 15 seconds of this round are kind of a coin toss? I mean, Araujo gets 2 takedowns in there. Doesn't do dick with them, but she gets 2, right? So, I mean, you can't just ignore it. And then, Grasso kind of, on her back foot, landing a shot here, landing a shot there, nothing too crazy. However, that, final flurry, if you will, if that's, that last little, the end of the round little stand-up flurry, had a lot of success, landed her best shots, I thought, up until that point of the fight, I thought gave it to Grasso. Now, and then Araujo just didn't have much damage in round 2 at all. But it did have the 2 takedowns. Made it close, made it interesting. I think Grasso fairly, like I said, these rounds were close, but they had winners.
Right, which is why I was saying that, fight of the night, I don't really have a problem with because there is a case to be made for Araujo in, I guess, 4 out of 5 of these rounds for the most part. I think round 5 is the only one that's just, very clear to me.
See, and I saw round 4 as the only one being very clear. So
4, I think, is pretty clear, too. 3 is the only one where I was very 50-50 on the scoring.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be real. I mean, I
1
gave
and
round
3
3
were the 2 where I was like, I could give these to Araujo, no problems.
See, I gave round 3 to Grasso.
I did as well.
But I have the weakest argument for doing so. I just subjectively thought she landed a little cleaner and got the head kicks. Araujo, I thought that was kind of a differentiating factor. Grasso landed, I think, 1 or 2 head kicks. Not super clean, not fight ending, not rock, not wobble, but they got through. And Araujo did not. So, like I said, I mean, I thought that was the head kicks really. I mean, you take out those head kicks, and I think we have a legitimate coin toss. I edged out for Grasso round 3.
So my notes are essentially that Grasso landed the bigger strikes of the round, and for as close as it was, she kind of got off the damage lead by just having those bigger moments.
Well, and Grasso gets talked about this Mexican boxer, one-dimensional, whatever. Those head kicks are developing nicely, and I think in future fights, when she fights the Fioros of the world, or God forbid a Shevchenko, Exactly. I mean, she's leveling up, man. The skills, that's what makes me not hate the inactivity as much.
And she's young.
Still hate it.
And I think the sports performance place she works out is the same place as Canelo.
She kind of looks like Canelo.
Well, they're both Guadalajarans.
Oh, yeah.
So they're the same region of Mexico.
Guadalajara, if I want to go to Mexico, everybody goes to Cancun. I want to go to Guadalajara for multiple reasons. It seems like the most like
Mexico, does it not?
Yeah, the culture seems so dope. Every time I learn anything about Guadalajara, it's like, this place seems fucking awesome. Like, I've watched different documentaries, it seems like a great place. Obviously, it has its problems, as Mexico does. But, yeah, what can you do? America has its problems, too.
What are you going to do about it?
No, all right. So you have round 3 for Grasso too?
Yeah, I'm actually up 3-0 at this point, 30-27.
One
judge did see this round for Araujo. So at this point, one judge has it 29-28 Grasso. The other two have it 30-27 for Grasso. Going into round 4, I thought Araujo once again fought a good round in round 4. I thought Grasso once again did more and won the round just based on landing the better strikes, being more mobile, setting herself up better for positions.
You don't know why I found this to be very competitive round.
Yes.
In a fight full of competitive rounds, I found this to be the least competitive because Grasso was stuffing the takedowns, right? That was one of the main places where Araujo was having success and was believed to have success coming into this. She was supposed to be the better grappler, right? Brazilian. She was even believed to be the bigger, stronger girl. So you combine bigger, stronger, and better grappler, supposed to out-grapple Grasso, right? Well, in round 4, and this was the first time either of these fighters have been in championship rounds, too. So also a huge factor there.
Good point.
Grasso was stuffing the takedowns in round 4. I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe round 4 is the only round where Araujo didn't get a single takedown. I guess the takedown in round 1 didn't count. You see my point, though. It's the first round where Grasso was stuffing all the takedowns, which I thought separated it because I thought that was the only thing that was really making it close to begin with. So if you remove the only thing that's like making it close, like I said, it wasn't a landslide. It wasn't like Grasso. The word 10-8 doesn't even enter my mind, but I thought it was the clearest 10-9 for Grasso. I thought it was probably her best round of the whole fight because of the ability to stuff the takedown. And like I said, for a Mexican boxer, but that's one of your supposed question marks, pretty dope, especially in the 4th round. You've never been in a 4th round before. I don't know. I really impressed.
Those are all really great points, man. And I thought her takedown defense, she stuffed 8 out of 10 takedowns. That's great for a boxer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you think about boxing, probably the hardest background to defend a takedown from because you get so close, square up, and strike with your hands more so than your legs. It's got to be harder or easier to take those people down than a kickboxer or a Muay Thai person. So,
yeah.
With that all considered,
see Conor McGregor, right?
Right, yeah. I still scored it for Grasso as well. I have it 40-36 at this point. But like I said, 2 of those rounds I could see going the other way. I honestly thought in my head, if there's any judges that are overvaluing Araujo's fight plan or fight path, this very well could be a 5th round decision for the winner. Now, it obviously doesn't turn out to be that way. One judge does have round 4 to Araujo, which I don't really get. I think if there's any rounds you're going to score for, it's 1 or 3.
Yeah, I thought round 4 was the only round where I literally won't budge and won't make a devil's advocate argument. You can't give Araujo round 4. You can't do it.
Right, I agree with you. And the judge that gave her round 3 is not the one that gave her round 4. So at this point, one judge 40-36, 2 judges 39-37. Essentially, the fight's out of reach by a decision for Araujo. Obviously, the fighters don't know that. But this was like a 5th round where if Grasso fights smart, she just gets to walk away with the fight. Now, granted, in the corners, I do believe Araujo's corner told her that she won rounds 1 and 2, which makes me think they probably kept telling her that she was ahead and to keep doing what she was doing. I think that's bad corner work. Considering how close these rounds are, you can't be telling your fighter that they have a round. You got to tell them it's close and they have to keep going.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. I agree.
And then round 5, I thought Grasso looked very solid to close out. I thought her cardio looked good.
The only positive
takedowns.
I have to say about Araujo in round 5 is the pressure. She was walking forward. She really did have Grasso on the back foot. Now, Grasso did a good job of being active off the back foot and not giving the round away. I thought it was easy to do for a lot of fighters.
Especially if you think you're ahead 3-1 or 4-0.
Exactly. So credit to Grasso there. Landed the cleaner shots, more impactful shots. Araujo did have her on the back foot, wasn't able to do much with it. I don't know, man. Grasso just was better than Araujo, which is what I thought. I wasn't as bullish on Grasso. I did think the ceiling was higher. I think Araujo is what Araujo is.
Right. You know? She's very straightforward in what she's going to do, what she can do, and what you have to do to stop all that.
Grasso is still that kind of like upwards trajectory, like, people are still high. Maybe she hasn't reached her ceiling yet. People still view her as potential future champion, which I guess I'm coming along on. But then, all right, so let's get to it. So, let's get to the official scorecard. So I score at 49-46. You score at 50-45, right?
Yes.
And so we can both completely accurately represent the judges' scorecards. Two judges score at 49-46. One judge scores at 50-45. Unanimous decision. Grasso does not paint a picture of how close this fight was. Fight was very competitive.
Right. I thought fight of the night was deserved here, honestly. The more we talk about it, the more I'm like, this probably should have been the fight of the night. They fought 5 rounds. All of the rounds were at least close enough for us to have to talk about scorecards.
And, the fact that it was, it's competing with Todorovic, right? If that's the bar that's being set,
right,
to succeed that, for sure. Yeah, no, I agree.
No pun intended, but you are right.
Yeah, I am right, and Jordan Wright is wrong. And so Grasso gets the win. Now, I guess I'll see how you feel about it. I think you'll feel similar how I do. Everybody's like, so, are you the number 1 contender? And she's like, I'd like one more fight first. It's like, you don't say that.
Yeah, don't say that.
True, even if it's true.
That is the truth,
she's probably not
don't
wrong.
Say that. You're promoting yourself in that moment. Why would you promote yourself for anything less?
You say Shevchenko's fucking commie ass don't want this smoke. That's what you say, even if you don't feel it.
And you're top 5, so it's like you have the right to be calling for that kind of a shot by having a win and being ranked 5. You're within striking distance. We've seen.
You talk about how old Lauren Murphy is. You talk about how old Caitlin Chikagian is. You talk about how, these other girls have had their chance, but Shevchenko ain't seen nothing like me yet. That's what you do, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, we talked about it with Jonathan Martinez earlier. Not everybody's going to be a Michael Chandler. Not everybody's going to be, how these fire call-outs.
And it kind of puts her in danger of having to fight Taila Santos, who's not booked and is clearly the number 1 threat to Shevchenko still in my eyes, or Manon Fior. And it's like...
hey, bro. Hey, like I said, I've kind of openly been pretty upfront that I'm not the biggest Grasso guy.
I think Santos finishes Grasso.
Give me Santos all day, especially if recency bias made if Vegas somehow has Grasso as the favorite, because people just nut ride Grasso. I don't know. I'm sure there's other fighters that people probably feel the same way about Chimaev and Rachmanov, and they're nut riding, but people just nut ride Grasso, and I think they don't nut ride Santos enough.
Can you imagine how good a Rachmanov Chimaev fight would be? Eventually, we might get that. If it keeps going this way in a year and a half's time.
Is he booked against Magny? Is that what's happening? Or no, he beat Magny.
He beat Magny, yeah.
He's booked against somebody, I thought. I could be wrong. Jeff Neal.
Is that right?
That's actually sick. I'm pretty fucking sure he's booked against Jeff Neal. That fight's sick.
That is a sick fight.
Because in my head, I'm like, Rachmanov all day. But you know what I always get bitten in the ass for? Doubting Jeff Neal. Every time I doubt Jeff Neal, fucking fucks my parlay. So I don't know, dude. Jeff Neal's kind of forced me to put respect on his name, to be honest.
It's not on their site yet, but I do think you're right. I think they announced that.
Yeah, or at least some lukewarm Instagram announcements. I don't know if it's on paper, but
I imagine Wonder Boy's not taking the smoke with Rachmanov.
Well, Wonder Boy, did you ever heard about who Wonder Boy's booked against?
No, who?
Unretired Kevin Holland.
No way. What a great fight.
Yeah. Kevin Holland came out of retirement.
Fake retirement. Fake news.
Bro, he was retired, bro.
Fake news. Fake news. Sorry to get a tissue.
Well, allegedly, Kevin Holland got 800 racks to step up late notice against Chimaev. That's
What
the
the
rumor.
fuck?
That sounds like some internet rumor bullshit, but
I don't know. They love that motherfucker, and he does a lot of backstage. Like he's like literally like he talks the most shit and is the most like forward asshole. But I think he's the biggest teacher's pet in the room when it comes to the UFC. Now, granted, he makes no bones about it. He's like, they take care of me, I'll do whatever the fuck they ask. When they don't take care of me, fuck them.
Allegedly, that's why he almost retired, because he was just like, I never thought I'd have this much money in my bank account. Which would make, like I said, because the Kevin Holland retirement announcement made 0 sense. But if he indeed did make $800,000 when he probably made like 75 and 75 every other fight he's ever fought, I kind of understand where he's coming from.
Well, shit. And he got dogged in that fight. He probably sat back and was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I don't need to do this." And then it was like,
"All right, I'll fight a 40-year-old wonder boy for a couple hundred more grand."
Right, like if he gets like 75 or 100 and 100 still, like, why would he not still do it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough fight for both guys. I mean, that's a fun one. I'm looking forward to it.
Super fun. And also, I really would love to see Kevin Holland talk shit to him, because Wonder Boy doesn't really talk shit at all.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, for sure. That'll be interesting.
That's a weird media fight to sell and build up.
This is the point in the podcast where we usually look ahead to UFC 280. However, like at some point this week, I literally don't care when. I'll just text you my work schedule. We can find it. I want to have like a little episode where we kind of preview UFC 280. It's a big enough card. It deserves it. And I kind of got somewhere I need to get to real quick. But
yeah, let's do it. Wednesday works for me if you want to go for a Wednesday preview.
Let me look real quick. Let me look at my work schedule Wednesday real quick.
All day Wednesday.
I'm fucking off Wednesday.
Boom, me too.
If you're watching live right now on YouTube, Wednesday we will be previewing our UFC 280 picks, our previews, our storylines. Can't wait. Like, bro, I haven't felt this stoked for a card in, I mean, a long time. Long time.
I've been looking forward to it for 3 months, and it hasn't. I think it's lost maybe one fight out of all those. You know what I mean?
I'll let one fucking hot take slip out of my mouth before we go. I like all 3 dogs in the last 3 fights. Actually, no, it may not even be the last 3 fights. Give me Dariush, give me Oliveira, and give me Sugar Sean. I'm rolling dog. Heavy
what about
dog.
Dillashaw?
Nah.
All right, so 3 out of 4 dogs in the last 4.
Yeah, and I imagine Fioro's a favorite, right?
For sure. Only minus 220. That's run of the book right now and bet minus 220 on Fioro before that goes up to minus 260.
See, that's what the money lines be fucking with me, because like I'm such a cheap bastard. I'm like, Chikagian value question mark? But this is also coming. I doubt Chikagian every time. I've been calling Chikagian washed for like 4 years, and she's still ranked number 1. Like seriously, like I'm always wrong on Chikagian picks, like always. So like I love Fiora. Fiora's like the female Shemaev. Like we love her. Hype train McGee, shovel all the coal, but I'm always wrong on Chikagian. It's how I feel about Todorovic. Like I can't. Like, I've lost so much money betting against Chikagian and for Todorovic that it's so tough for me as a bettor.
Man, it's great. Like Makayev's minus 700. Like that's not even worth it. Sean Brady at minus 150 or Bilal Muhammad plus 125. Probably your
Sean
best.
Brady minus 150 all day. And bro, that's what's crazy. That's what's crazy. I'm surprised in the value because everybody hates Bilal. I don't hate Bilal. Still Brady's all good. Over Sean Brady.
Yeah, I like Brady at minus 150. That might be your steal on value of the week.
Like when Sean Brady grabs people, it just looks different.
Yeah.
Like it just the squeeze, the power, the strength. Like Bilal, he's a lot of things, but he's not a physical freak. We like he's probably the most average athlete in the top 5. You know what I'm saying?
For sure, 100%.
And Sean Brady is like just built different. Like I know MMA doesn't always come down to that, but Bilal Muhammad is that grinded out style, that grappling heavy style. Like good luck with Sean Brady with that. I mean, unless Sean Brady gasses.
Yeah, Brady's
a 3-round fight.
His nickname should be in and out because that fool is animal style.
Animal style, bro, just smothered. But yeah, man. I mean, like I said, I'm the only guy on the internet that doesn't hate Bilal, and I'm still stroking off Brady in this one. Like, no, I will say if Bilal can pull off the upset, I mean, he positions himself nicely.
So nicely.
I think it's Bilal Covington if he gets the win.
Which is a fun fight as well.
Great fight, for sure.
But Wednesday we can break it all down. We can go into the betting,
we'll get to
betting tips, just who we like in general as well, regardless of betting, things like that. But that does wrap up episode 106.
Hit that subscribe.
Subscribe and like. Subscribe and like. I think they're
every card, every fight. No one else is doing that. I'm not saying there's not things that other people don't do better than this, but ain't nobody over there hitting every fight on every card. That's what we do. Fuck with the Beefy Boys. Hit subscribe.
Yes, sir. We will see you guys next week for most likely the card of the year. Could be some ones that rise up afterward, but as of now, on the books, this is better than the one I even flew out to see you and hang out with you for.
Oh, yeah. Like, honestly, I wish it was this one that you were goddamn. But yeah, bro, another fun episode. Thanks so much, bro. Looking forward to next week for sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I will see you in the Beefy Nation next week or Wednesday first, but we'll see you. We'll see you guys both.